Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Wes. Watch that flourish as we are talking combat feats today. Bat, chicka, bum, bat, bat, chicka, bum, bat. All right, so we are talking combat feats in today's video. Heliana's Guide to Monster Hunting. These feats are related to new weapons that are also introduced in Heliana's Guide, and we are going to get right into it, starting with twin blades. These are kind of like the double-bladed scimitar. However, their special property, instead of letting you do a bonus action attack, you're gonna do a whirl. If I was wheaten, but this whirl is gonna let you. I think I almost said swirl there. This ability is going to let you increase your AC. As a bonus action, you have to make a sleight of hand, acrobatics, performance check. You have to make some kind of check, and if you pass it, you gain a +1 to your AC. If you pass it by like 5 or more, you gain a +2 to your AC, which I think is really cool because you're just like, think Jedi deflecting lasers, kind of. Oh my god, on a Psy Warrior, that actually kind of makes a lot of sense. All right, the twin blades, their combat feat is called Blade Barrier, which when you use your whirl ability, you will actually be able to make that bonus action attack. And just like the double-bladed scimitar, it is a D4. So not only do you get a bonus to your AC, you're also going to get a bonus action attack, and you won't provoke opportunity attacks. You can make a twin blade on D&D Beyond and change the damage type, so you can do something like radiant or force damage if you wanted to then really get your lightsaber on. But we're going to continue on. That's a free one for you, DMs. Next up, we have Claw. Think Wolverine, Freddy Krueger, or just brass knuckles with blades. This is not supposed to be a representation of a claw, but it works for the time being. I have carpal tunnel from years of photography and dance, and I also fell this past weekend. So anyway, a claw is a weapon that lets you do a D6 damage, and it's got a special property that is called attached. Yeah, attached. And that's gonna let you, 1, you can't be disarmed. 2, you're gonna have disadvantage on sleight of hand checks because, well, you have this claw thing in your way. Kind of makes sense. The related feat for your claw is called Cat's Caress, which is going to let you have advantage against anyone you grapple. It is also going to let you make an additional attack if you're dual wielding them. So if you're dual wielding these, you could make 3 attacks with claws. You can't add your proficiency bonus unless it's a negative, unless you have the dual 2-weapon fighting style. And lastly, you can equip or unequip a pair of claws as part of an action or bonus action. I mean, when you take the attack action now in the revised rules, you can just equip a weapon or unequip it, but also being able to do one as a bonus action is kind of helpful. Well, it depends if you're playing with the new rules or not. Some people still aren't. Some people just flat out refuse. I'm not one of them, so the last part of this is kind of redundant. Once again, this Heliana's came out before the revised rules, so some of these are going to sound like that. All right, next we have nunchucks. Yeah, just not, you know what nunchucks are and what they do. They have the special property, the versatile property, and the finesse property. They use a D6, D8 when using the versatile, so with 2 hands. And their ability is a special flourish, which lets you, same thing, kind of like the blade barrier or the twin blades, you have to make a check. And if you succeed, you gain a bonus to your first attack. You gain a +2 to your first attack. If you fail, you actually damage yourself. Just think the videos of some guy with the nunchucks accidentally hitting himself in the groin. Yeah, that's what happens. I think Shadowversity did a video basically saying how quarterstaff or just a stick is actually better than using nunchucks because of the way physics work. Anyway, we're not here to talk physics. We're here to talk Fearsome Flourish, which is the feat associated with this. Now you can take a special bonus action to frighten an enemy because you're just so imposing and intimidating with your nunchucks. On top of that, when you take the attack action, you can make an additional attack. That's going to be a D4 instead of like a D6 or D8. So very similar to Blade Barrier, very similar to Twin Blades. If you want to use nunchucks, you got nunchucks now. I personally don't think I would. Maybe if I was going for a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Our next weapon is called a Tether Hook. You can also think like ninja weapons, you know, chains with stuff attached to them. Or you can even go the opposite way. Since this is a Monster Hunter book, you can go like Castlevania with it, right? Either way, Tether Hooks do a D8 damage, and they have the hook property, which lets you basically grapples a target as long as they're not one size larger than you. It doesn't actually reduce their speed to 0. So they have to, when you hit a creature, immediately after you hit a creature, you can take a bonus action as long as they're not one size larger than, as long as they're not more than one size larger than you. You can take a bonus action, and this is going to let you kind of restrain them. They can't move further away from you. They can move closer to you, and technically they can kite around you. However, they're going to have to break free, they're going to have to use their action to make a Dex or Athletics check. The initial grapple is also a Dex or Athletics check. Like I said, if this was revised, it would be a saving throw. And on subsequent turns, as a bonus action, you can pull them 5 feet closer to you. And you can also do this on the first attack as well. So it's pretty cool. The feat that the Tether Hook uses is called Scourge Master. It increases your dexterity. This is the only feat that increases any of your stats as far as the weapon feat, combat feats go. When you use your Tether Hook or a whip now, you can use a bonus action to attempt to disarm a creature from their shield or whatever they're holding in their hand. And you can also use your whip or Tether Hook to pull objects closer to you, as long as they're not like way more than a pound, which kind of doesn't really make sense, because if a creature is more than one size larger than you, they are probably, you know, weigh a good amount. All right, now we're going to be talking about two weapon types or families or categories, because they use the same feat. But the first one is called Tommybows, which is like a Tommy gun, which is like a Tommy gun, except it's a bow, just a bow with an ammo chamber. It could be a hand crossbow, a light crossbow, or a heavy crossbow. And yeah, you just have the reload property. Depending on how much you spend, depends on the size of the chamber or the mag. And yeah, honestly, if I had an Artificer, I would give them a chance to make one of these. Like, if they use their repeating shot in fusion to make a hand crossbow or something, I would then give them a chance to use probably the rules from this book on refining from Heliana on like upgrading a magic item. And if they do it, then they just permanently create a Tommybow and then free up their infusion so they can make something else later. That's how I would roll it. There's a lot of cool things that I would do with Artificers and magic items because of the amount of extra magic items and crafting rules provided on D&D Beyond now. The next weapon is called a Magitech Firearm, which makes sense, especially in like the Eberron or Ravnica setting, my two favorite settings because they're the Magitech settings, where this fits in perfectly. It's how, you know, just another way of guns in your campaign. If you don't allow regular firearms, then maybe you might allow these, because it's just firearms powered by magic. The projectiles are moved from the barrel through magic. However, the bullet itself is not magical, unless you had magic bullets like the walloping bullets or some of the other ones introduced in like, oh man, there was some special ammo introduced in the Book of Many Things, I think it was. So one thing about Magitech Firearms though is they have loud property, which think Thaumaturgy or Thunderwave can be heard up to 300 feet away. maybe not the best when starting in a dungeon using one of these, because then you signal to everyone that you're here. Alright, so the feat for these weapons, for the Tommybows and Magitech Firearms, is called Pray and Spray. First of all, it's going to let you reload as bonus action or action, which, I mean, I know that's supposed to be a thing of the Matt Mercer's Gunslinger being able to bonus action reload, but I feel like everyone just kind of lets you bonus action reload. Continue on, the next part of this is, you don't have disadvantage within firing within 5 feet of someone, which I think Crossbow Expert gives you, Gunner gives you, Sharpshooter gives you. Okay, then if you have a Tommybow or firearm or Magitech Firearm in one hand, a one-handed one, and you can dual wield. You can dual wield firearms or bows as long as they have the one-handed, as long as they're one-handed, so probably light, or hand crossbow or hand guns or whatever. And you don't add your attack, same thing as like dual wielder. You only add your modifier if it's negative or if you have the 2-weapon fighting style. Okay, then finally, you're gonna be able to make, so you make 1 attack as a bonus action, or you can take a -5 and make 2 attacks as a bonus action. I would only do this if I had like the archery fighting style and less, because as somebody who played a bunch of Genshin and Warframe, you want accuracy first and then bonus to damage, because if you don't hit, you don't do damage, and if you don't do damage, the target doesn't lose health. If they don't lose health, you're most likely to lose health first. And we want to live in D&D. We don't want our characters to die. Well, maybe, depending. Either way, those are all the feats. Like I said, they simulate weapon masteries for these new weapons, because these weapon masteries didn't exist at the time. And some of them, they all have their own special ability, like the twin blades, the nunchucks, the claws. Yeah, so they have their own weapon mastery, and the feats just kind of push them over the edge to more flavor, more fun, possibly, depending on your table. And yeah, that's all the feats. That's all the combat feats from Heliana's Guide. We have crafting feats, and after I do my crafting feats video for Heliana's Guide, we are going to be doing who's got the best crafting, whether it's the Dungeon Dudes and Monsters of Drakenheim, Grim Hollow, and their crafting feats and crafting style, Heliana's Guide. And what we did, Obijima, their crafting typically applies to potions only. It'd be confusing, but it'd be kind of fun if you had a party and each one used a different set of crafting rules. Either way, I've been Wes Where's the Fun, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye! And Wes here to say don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye-bye!